minutes Bluescreen Bronies interviews with the Legends of Equestria team here with Blue Ink and Popey.
Hello.
Hi.
Got myself here, I'm Draco High. And screw loose, we're both sick. We're both terribly, terribly sick. We left a will just in case that something happens to us during this interview. There might be a cuteness overload or something.
And you left all of it to us, right? All of your many assets.
Of course, all my debt, too.
Yes, all of our millions that that video game companies have been giving us to give their games good reviews.
The great pony bust of 2008 wasn't good on anybody.
Oh, dear God. Anyway, how are you two doing right now?
We are not as sick as you, so that's good.
That is always good.
I'm pretty fantastic. Not sick. I had to get up early today on a Saturday, which I hate, but other than that, pretty awesome.
That is the worst thing.
Could be worse. You could have to get up early and be sick. I've had to do that all week. Get up at 5 just to drive people to work. It sucked.
Oh, man.
It sucked. Anyway, let's get this interview under the way here. We're recording this on December 28th, Saturday, after a new episode of Ponies.
Woo!
Woo! Ponies!
Yay!
Okay, so this is going to be the first show of the new year, so it's only right that we ask New Year questions. New Year's is approaching. Are there any new, major goals that you have set as a team for your game?
Well, there are actually quite a few. The main one is get as much done as possible. And I know the design team, which Popey is in charge of, also has a lot of goals as well on their own.
Oh, yeah. There's goals, there's branching goals, there's flowering tree goals into other goals. It's like Goal City over here. But I'd say most of our goals right now are focused on our more short-term, OhioCon presentation, which we're going to be having very soon. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blue, but I believe it's the 24th?
The 24th to the 26th, yep.
Wait,
yes.
So you guys are going to OhioCon?
We are going to OhioCon. And there will be an open server weekend.
So the goals are mainly oriented towards essentially jam-packing the game full of new content that, many people have not seen. And, I don't want to spoil everything, but we're talking, new areas, new abilities, new quests, new wearable items, essentially just take your pick on this, carte blanche. It's going to be exciting. And right now, we're into, let's see, we got about 3 weeks. So, the whole team is revving up to get prepared for that. But as far as longer term goals go, for the design team, right now what we're focusing on is the transitional map, which I believe I spoke a little bit about on another during your charity event. But essentially, it's going to be the overworld of your experience within Legends of Equestria. Imagine your Hyrule field of Legends of Equestria. It's going to be where you get to do a lot of exploring. We as the design team, the writing team, modeling team, concept art, everybody gets to kind of flex their muscles a bit on pushing more creative areas because we're not so locked into, the strict regimen that has already been shown in the episodes as far as the major cities are concerned. Ponyville, everybody knows what Ponyville looks like, and, the things that we create, which are, related to Ponyville, we kind of have to follow a very succinct and locked in style. When we move into the transitional map, we're allowed to have a lot more free reign to be, a little more explorative in what we pursue. So that area, as far as new worlds for you, is a real big focus.
Well, fast question from me. Are you actually using the newer shows to locate and make everything spatially accurate, I guess?
Oh, of course. I mean, we consider, in great depth every episode. I mean, there's nothing that's the source. There's really, nothing better to go to as a reference. Now, it's important to note that, if all of a sudden next day they decide, well, let's just redesign an entire city, we're not going to, go back and redesign it. We may change a few things, but, in the interest of not being so shackled to the show, we're not going to do that. But as far as a good example, just recently of using some of the newer content, with the new Everfree posts in, what I feel that we learned substantially about Everfree is, it was never quite shown, maybe a little bit in some of the older shows, but not as extensively, that there were these huge valleys that were in these areas. Like we're talking, 100-foot, 200-foot just cliff faces. And, that whole scene where they're walking down this Lord of the Rings-esque stairwell going down into the valley floor, that's a new scene that really kind of gives us a greater feel for these very large depressions that we can take into account while working on Everfree. So, that's an example of some new content that just got released that we used.
So, what about the rumored GAC level?
The rumored GAC level?
That'll be in Tartarus.
Well, I don't want to, push any rumors. I mean, I personally would not do a little better than a sort of a meme, if we're going to make a new level for the fans and for everybody who wants to experience our game, I think we could do a little better than basing it off of a commercial,
Oh, wow.
Hey, I don't write these. I just ask the questions.
Wow, much game.
Very entertaining.
So graphic.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna get killed by Kibby now.
I know, right?
Oh, Kibby.
Shibi.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple proposals, interestingly enough, for one member of our team. I believe it was Blood. He actually proposed a very interesting idea that we're kind of holding in our ideas factory, where we would use the libraries throughout the world to kind of house mini worlds where, if you're in a library and you read a book, it can serve as sort of a portal into a microcosm, a smaller universe that we're allowed to kind of maybe break away a little bit. And, that's the only time I could think you could do some kind of GAC world, but more likely.
We actually have quite a few library books as it stands. There are quite a few stories of the world in the world. So it's rather extensive.
I think the Page Master would have something to say about this.
Yeah, but more likely, I mean, those sort of expansions would be, greatly tied into the writing teams, creative writings for the quest line, as well as, modeling and the stories and the characters you're already, interacting with. I'm not going to discount anything, but I wouldn't look too forward towards having a GAC world. I don't think we're going to see that.
Well, screw it. You just won $20.
I'll go buy some Sudafed.
Sudafed? Dear God. I'd be surprised if you could buy an entire bottle with that. Anyway, so will conventions be the focal point of showing off your game, or do you guys want to do more of those free access weekends?
Well, both, frankly, is we love putting conventions and open server weekends at the same time, which is exactly what we're doing for OhioCon. And we have, more cons than just OhioCon coming this year, but I can't mention those yet. But there will be plenty, and we're gonna have open server weekends too. So they usually go together fairly well, actually.
I have a question. Basically, for what system would run this the best? Or will I have to go out and purchase a new console?
For you're saying like computer specs kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Right now, we are planning to support natively, of course, Windows-based systems, as well as Mac-based. Linux, don't count yourself out yet. We go by the Unity platform, and I believe Unity just recently added Linux support. So, right now we're focusing, of course, on the Windows and the Mac builds because, that's by far the highest percentage of users. As far as, specific statistics for your computer, your graphics cards, I can't really have a very specific number yet. I mean, that's really one of the major purposes of these open server weekends. They are called stress tests because what we're trying to test is, what happens when hundreds or thousands of people get on these servers, interacting together. It's a very complex network, and that's going to make system requirements change based on our optimization from the data that we learn from these events. But I would say some minimum baseline specs. I think our lead programmer released them on our site, but like a Core 2 Duo, your 9. Let's see, what is it? NVIDIA 9000 and above.
Dear God, that's ancient.
Yeah. Oh no, that's pretty old.
Hey, that's what
It
I
runs
have.
on a lot of stuff. It runs on my laptop, which is just ancient as well. So I mean, it's pretty flexible.
I have a MacBook Pro from 2008, and it runs like a champ.
It runs like a brick in underwater.
Yeah, we're really trying to keep the specs as open as possible. As far as memory goes, I would give it 2 gigs of memory. Optimally, 4 would be really nice, but you could probably run it on 1 or 2. There is also going to be in-game settings to adjust, the quality, so that if you are finding that it's running a little slow, you're going to be able to tone down the quality a bit so that you can customize the game to work optimally on your system.
So that doesn't mean that Screw Loose has to wait like 4 months to play DuckTales, right?
All of my hate. All of it. All of it.
Poor Screw Loose.
Anyway, so with Season 4 upon us, is there any new content planned around that for Legends of Equestria?
Well, it sort of depends, actually. Season 4 has shown or is going to show some stuff that we already had planned. So I mean, we take a lot of inspiration from the show, but we also had a lot of our own things going. Actually, I think we already had bats, didn't we, Popey?
Oh yeah, we've had bats for years.
Years.
I like how I can say that. We've had bats since before I was on the team, and I'm not the oldest, but I've been here for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So, so to put it shortly, yeah, probably.
No. What's in the box?
No, Screw Loose. No. No.
Fine.
What's in the box?
See, my head
Disregard.
My head canon is that they're going to go through these little adventures to get each key, and it's going to be a friendship goal, and then they're going to open the box and it's going to be nothing. and they're just going to be like, "Oh, the real reward was our friendship that we gained along the way," and that's going to be it.
Oh.
It was inside us all along.
That's what I think.
I will rage quit. I think at that point.
They're gonna open it up. It's gonna be a keep off our Bed Bath and Beyond. It's gonna be good for one purchase only, and they're gonna have to fight over it.
No. It's gonna be Flufflepuff inside of it.
Maybe it might be Lauren Faust's head.
Oh.
Maybe the newest $80 Twilight toy that they'll be pushing
with wings. Thanks, Emma Larson. Just a big pile of spaghetti.
Oh God, that's terrible. We're terrible people.
Yeah, I think so. What are we doing here if not being terrible people?
I don't know. Well, we'll figure it out, I guess. We'll try to find our way. Crescendo's gonna kill me. Crescendo's gonna kill me.
Gosh.
What is this, season 2?
Our strongest horses.
All right, now were there any gameplay segments you guys had to scrap, that like a mini game or something like that just did not fit? What's not working right? Could not get it to work right at all?
I swear, if I have to pick locks, I'm gonna be mad.
No, we're not gonna have a Skyrim or Oblivion style lock picking system, but
Thank you.
we do have. I mean, as far as mini games go, we did. The tricky thing is that mini games are something that are very fun to conceive of. You can just spend an afternoon coming up with a creative idea, but the time of creation versus the time of implementation is extreme in many cases. So we've really honed down the mini games from, initially we probably had dozens of proposals down to I'd average about 6 or so. There's going to be some really integral ones. That's not a hard number, but as far as the crafting cutie marks go, some of the more race specific attuned mini games, those have certainly been cut down from the initial amounts. And let's see, what else has been trimmed down? Well, I don't want to go too far into details, but very recently, we actually just optimized experience gains to trim down the amount of programming work which would go into the calculations of how you get experience.
I love how you use the term optimized.
Well,
let's translate
we
that
made
term.
it more efficient.
We didn't want to do it, so let's optimize it.
No, there's still a very robust experience system, but initially what we had done was we had a system based on, 3 key components. It was a golden ratio. It was based on, your relevance, and we had a formula to determine relevance, as well as, your number of uses for an ability. And, I can't go into it too far, but essentially what we were finding out is that although all of these different, feeds really gave you experience in a very precise and fair manner. You're in a party with, let's say 4 people, and it really fairly broke up the experience depending on, how relevant your abilities were against the mob you may be fighting, how useful you were to the team fight as a whole. If you're a low level versus your high level friends, you're going to have a bit more trouble really making a difference in that scenario. And we actually found a new system. I can't go into too many details, but it cut out a lot of the effort that it would have taken to program that old system. And that's one way where the public will never see the change, but internally, it offsets a significant amount of pressure from programming.
Okay, so versus the old way of doing it versus the new way of doing it, how many tables were destroyed by flipping?
They have a stack, warehouse of them.
Our programming leader flips tables about every other day.
We don't.
You get them on wholesale?
I don't even get mad anymore. I think there's probably been about 40 pages of documents minimum that I've written that are now irrelevant due to updates and changes. Things move so dynamically as we learn more from these open servers and as we, optimize systems that you can't dwell over the past. You have to focus on, how you're making everything better by changing things. Of course, you have to factor in, time as a constraint. I'm not going to go up and change something because it'll optimize, a little bit, but it'll end up taking more time in the long run to move our systems over from the old method to the new method. So there's a lot of factors, but, we change things when we see that there is a possibility to not reduce the quality of the final products we want to make, and push it so that we can get you, an amazing game sooner.
I hear you saying that you don't get mad, but in the back of my mind, all I hear is the crashing sound of wood on concrete as tables are flipped left and right.
I think we should know by now that Popey is just dead inside from developing this game.
No.
He is secretly the Saddle Rager.
He is.
No, it's I really enjoy it because it keeps me thinking. Like when I come home, what am I going to do? Am I going to go on Reddit for a few hours? I mean, I still do that. So, but instead of
well, there's the first mistake right there.
Instead of doing that or just browsing YouTube aimlessly or kind of doing these things, playing League of Legends. I was very addicted to League of Legends and I stopped because, well, I think it's very addicting. But, doing a project like this really keeps you thinking and it keeps you actively creating. And, even if you pursue something on a much lesser scale, just like going out and trying to draw a pony yourself, even if you're not, as artistically inclined as you see some of the top posts on EQD or something, or if you want to write a fiction even though you're not so good at writing, just actively doing that, even if you don't get the quote unquote fame that goes along with it, it keeps your mind working. And it's, I don't know, I enjoy that aspect of it.
This has become Legends of Popey.
In other words, hey Vegeta, how many tables has he flipped?
Oh, God.
Anyway, so, okay. How many people have you added to the team this past year?
Oh, gosh. The only official answer I can give you is a bunch.
A bunch?
A bunch.
Actually, that is a measure of a unit of measure.
Yeah, it is.
Of bananas. No, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I mean, we've added, what? Popey, at least 10 people, right?
Definitely.
At least 10 people, yeah. And these are all very, very skilled individuals, and I'm actually surprised we get so many of them, honestly.
Oh my gosh, there's been so many, the people on these teams, we have so many people who are working so hard to create the content that we use. And, I don't want to go into specifics because I don't want to give somebody a shout out and, discredit everybody else because everybody works so hard. But, I think this might be a good time to say that, along with our OhioCon presentation, as well as, the server weekends, what we always do with these sort of events is we decide to see if we can find some new people who might be interested. Because, especially when you experience the game, what we feel is very fair is we want you to take us with a grain of salt. if you have the creative talent to really draw some nice concept art, or maybe some really technical animation and rigging in Autodesk Maya or Blender or 3D Max, if you are really interested in that and want to kind of have a hobby on the side to keep you thinking, and that's also related to ponies, I'd encourage you to just check out our website, check out our open server, and if you like what you see, get in touch. You can talk to me. All of our emails for the associated team leaders are on our website. So, it's a really great, in my opinion, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think it's a really great team to become a part of, because not only are you getting experience, you're being challenged, you're working within an environment that's creating the most difficult type of game there is to create. I think I could argue the fact that massive multiplayer online games, especially full-blown 3D real-time games, are among the most difficult to create. And the fact that this is a fan project, there's no better simulation to getting the experience that you could apply, in the real world. I mean, this is all the real world, but I should say, at maybe a AAA company, if that's the line of work that you're looking for.
Oh, you mean like NCSoft, who seems to pump out a new MMO every other year?
Right.
Well, I mean, that's a very good point. What are you guys planning on doing? Well, I know everybody has their life's ambition. What do you think you might do after Legends of Equestria? Would you go to work for somebody else? Would you possibly work on maybe something else? Maybe make your own studio?
Well, we definitely do have plans for after this game, but
Hush, hush.
Yeah. at the moment, we are everything's a little up in the air, so I don't want to make any promises, but we are looking to stick together.
Look at you, Screwless, asking the tough questions, making me look bad. How dare you make me look bad?
I do what I can.
Just ask tougher questions.
I mean, you can't. With the creative potential that Legends of Equestria has gathered, throughout the years, it's just, it begs to be used on an original IP. And it was really ponies that brought everybody together. Whether or not, another project we may pursue would be relevant to ponies, or maybe relevant to, an original idea that, may take advantage of all the things we've learned from this project. It's a bit too early to tell, and also not quite my call. But, that is an opportunity that I personally would love to see come to fruition. I mean, there's just so many talented people, and the structure is already there. I mean, imagine the sort of structure that needs to be involved when, my co-lead lives in Australia, which is a 14-hour time difference. We have people in Russia, in Germany, in, all over America, all over the world. And to have this kind of organization we do with a remote team, I really think we could go far on a new project.
I definitely agree. We have a lot of potential.
So, any New Year's resolutions for the team? Like, go back to school, to learn more coding languages, to, I don't know, convince our friend to draw stuff for the game?
Well, I can tell you we have a lot of goals surrounding the cons and open servers, but for our team as individuals, yeah, we have a lot of goals actually. I can't even begin to list them all.
Personally, I mean, some of my goals, I wouldn't really say it's a resolution, but, I have, one of my personal goals is to get a little bit better in Unity. Unity, if you look at where Unity, the game engine was even 5 years ago till now, it's incredible the growth that we see. Unity went from an indie game engine that people scoffed at to breaking into the mainstream now, and I think in a couple more years it's going to pose some significant competition to the Unreal Engine, CryEngine, these other heavy hitters that you see. And personally, I would like to learn a little bit more about the advanced features in Unity, like particle effects and implementing animation, stuff like that. That's one of my goals. As far as team goals, I can only really, attest to the teams that I look after. The 3D team with Aussie, as well as the design team. But I would like to get a few more animators. Right now, we only have 2 or 3 people who are animating for us, and they're the amount of animations you can consider when you look at our creatures and things like that. I'd really love it if we just had a couple more animators. I'd love to see that. As far as 3D goes, I would love to see some more level designers. I guess all my goals are just turning into a pitch to come join Legends of Equestria. But when it comes to being a team lead, one of my primary responsibilities is to ensure the health of the team. So that's something that I always think about on top of our actual goals for content, the areas we want to push, which I already spoke upon a little bit, a little while ago, and things like that.
All right. So any new areas that you're able to talk about yet, or are you pretty much same old since the 24-hour stream and since the charity stream?
Well, I'm not sure how much we talked about this on the charity stream, but we're really going to focus on Cloudsdale for this coming open server weekend. So Cloudsdale is going to be the big one.
Sweet.
So in other words, screw loose. Don't step outside the balloon.
No. I'll step where I want. I'll go plummeting through the cloud, but I step where I want.
But yeah, we do have a lot of locations planned, and Popey did mention the the transition map, which will be a big deal, and Cloudsdale too, which is going to be pretty cool. And we do have a lot more planned though, so I'll keep an eye out for those.
Okay. Any holiday centered events? I mean, it's basically part and parcel with MMOs nowadays. Every holiday has to have an event of some sort.
Winter wrap up.
As much as we would like to have holiday ones, right now we're just focusing on getting the base for the game out, and then we'll probably look at that, actually. That would be very, very fun.
Fast question. Do you have any are you going to be doing any pre-rendered stuff? Scenes and such?
Oh.
That's something I would absolutely love to do. I mean, that's kind of what I have the most experience in, not looking towards a game setting, is renderings for architectural solutions. And I would, as much as I'd love to throw our ponies into a scene, take our cities, bring them into a 3D modeling software and render them up with V-Ray or some other state-of-the-art lighting software, and get some League of Legends-esque cutscenes. It's just not our primary focus, and right now we need to focus on in things within the game before we give you pretty cutscenes.
All right. I remember you saying that the main idea behind the Legends of Equestria was for socialization.
Oh yeah,
that is the thing that Popey said. Yep.
Of course.
The question I have for you is, are you thinking of maybe possibly doing what Second Life did and allowing DJs to broadcast?
Oh, I mean, we already have that implemented, actually. We have, if you were in any of our
That's
previous open server events, what we currently have already within our toolkit of capabilities is we can stream from an internet source. Of course, it's vetted, and quality assurance is a very important aspect when you're looking for a game that we would like everybody to enjoy. We can stream directly from an internet source. So we had it in Sugar Cube Corner as our temporary holding place, but Antler Shy, I believe it was Antler, was hosting a pony themed radio station where he was playing artists from all over the community right in our game. So that functionality is already there. And as far as the social aspect, it's just you're in an MMO with other players. Of course, you've come to expect to be able to interact, whether it's through emotional, ties that you have via emoticons or via, the chat box. We're not going to have any sort of in-game voice because, there's certain levels of constraint that we have to have in order to have our game be friendly to all audiences. But at this point, it's my opinion from what I've seen in other, huge games that everybody just ends up using Skype or, TeamSpeak or something anyway to chat with their friends, after they've sort of, or Mumble, after, they've met and kind of gone through those introductory phases through chat in the game.
Well, I'm pretty much out of questions. The Dayquil won't let me think anymore.
Oh no.
Well,
Think, Skrillus, think, damn you.
I know I have no, see, the problem is I have questions, and I don't want to ask questions that might possibly force them to want to reveal things, and I'm being polite like that.
It's okay. Little do you know that Lou Inc. actually has a very strong backhand, and she will knock you down.
Exactly. No, I'm kidding. Ask away.
Well, if once you're complete, and I'm guessing that I say complete, but I think complete might be the incorrect word, because I think this is a kind of project that will never be complete. Do you plan on expansion packs similar to, say, Mists of Pandaria, how the World of Warcraft continually expanded? Not necessarily, they added stuff, but they didn't retool the whole thing. They just expanded and added more stuff to it.
That's honestly, that's difficult to say because we want to add as much in the game as we can, but we are focused on getting the game out and completed appropriately for now, and then an entirely different set of goals may come up afterwards. But optimally, yes, that is something we would definitely want to do.
Sweet.
There's been talk of course, the game, as it's officially released, will be a complete game. We're not gonna get you through 2/3 of the storyline and then say to be continued, and all of a sudden you're like, what? Now I gotta wait another X months to get here. But it will be a complete game on release, and what we've talked about is going into some new areas. Whether or not they are creatively driven by, our design and concept art, or, they're driven by the show. And we've also discussed the potential to have a sort of a ghost team continue to develop expansions, while, if the Legends of Equestria team would like, perhaps considers a new direction to take, like your earlier question about if we'd ever like to, pursue other game-related projects. So, expansions, an MMO never releases Nintendo style and is never touched again. There's always going to be fixes and continued support.
So, Metropolis, yay or nay?
Metropolis is fictional, technically, even in the fictional universe we're looking at. So, who knows? We could have a book or two.
League of Heroes for ponies.
Oh gosh.
League of
That would
Heroes?
be kind of
What do you
cool.
mean, like a MOBA?
Sure,
for
folks.
ponies?
What was that? City of Heroes. That's like City of Heroes or City of Villains.
City of Villains starring the Maniac.
Yeah.
I thought the Maniac was very entertaining, albeit cliche, but very entertaining.
It's a comic book. It's supposed to
I
be
like
cliche.
her a lot. Exactly.
It's brilliant.
All right. So, anything else you'd like to plug while we're here? Seeing how you've been plugging all day long so far.
Hey, there's been a lot of discussion
All day we've just been
about
plugging
content.
along. Yes. Lots of discussion. The only thing, we really want everyone to know about the the OhioCon open server weekend, so everyone can play. We really want, to get as many people as we can on our servers to make sure they all work for everyone. And for that, I would suggest that you register on our forums first, so that way, when it comes time to log into the game, which you do with your forum account, the servers don't back up and you can't get in. So
right now,
register beforehand.
Right now,
Do
I
it.
can see you listening. Just legendofequestria.com. Register. We're never going to spam your email. It's free. Just, if you do it now, then when the time rolls around weeks from now, when you may not consider it, you're already ready to go.
So not only can you
Exactly, so
see
you
into
can
the
get in the
future,
game.
you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
through
I see
audio.
you beautiful fans sitting there majestically with your long blonde hair. Bag of Cheetos,
and Mountain Dew.
Luna plushie. I see you there. But seriously, register.
Popey has very good eyesight, you see. But register, and if you can see us at OhioCon, definitely stop by. Popey and I will be there showing off cool stuff, and we will have a trailer at OhioCon to show people, and we will have a lot of really neat things to show you. So,
Jeez, I just get a hotel room.
Yeah,
You guys
it's
have a
Legend
whole
of
trailer?
Equestria bus.
we have a big team, you see.
It's one of those mandated things. You make a request. That's the only way I'm going. I need a trailer.
I'm still waiting on
Fill it
my
with
hot tub.
cashews.
I made that request like a year ago.
I told you there is no such thing as a hot tub filled with Jello.
Ew.
And why not?
Because it's getting filled with Nutella.
Oh my. Oh
Yeah,
my.
Nutella.
That just sounds rather uncomfortable.
Sounds
Then
rather
they
delicious.
find you 40 million years in the future. The Nutella, it preserved him exquisitely. It's like an archaeological dig site.
I don't think it.
He died with a smile on
I don't
his
think the
face.
Nutella will last that long. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Encased in carbonite. You
Maybe.
see him. He's like a chocolate-looking Han Solo.
That is how I think of Draco from now on. Chocolate Han Solo.
Yeah, no. let's not get that mental image in everyone's mind, please. I mean, I already had to.
It's
I
too
already had to
late.
dance.
Too late. I'm
Okay.
I already had
tweeting
to
it.
dance for charity. Let's not do that.
All right. Oh, man.
Evidently, I had the moves.
Whoa.
Wow.
I know, right? Baby Dragon has moves. Ooh, yeah! Anyway, so OhioCon, Columbus, Ohio, January the 20th?
The 24th to the 26th.
Yeah, I haven't been to OhioCon yet. I might pop up to the Midwest again since I moved down here to Texas. It's been rather uneventful.
That would be pretty sweet. I did pop down to Texas for Fiesta last year. You do owe me.
Hey, I did not live in Texas at the time. I told you this.
Right.
The pie is still available.
Texans.
Anyway,
Texans.
no.
Silly Texans.
I do not need my kneecaps busted. I already know how much I owe
Yeah,
you.
I mean, The only thing I would go off on is HyoCon, register early, and if you know how to animate or think that you would enjoy, checking us out, maybe wanting to like get your creative juices flowing on a relevant project to your interests, check out the team. You don't have to commit or anything. We have a pretty stringent process. I'm not going to say that, I don't want to make any guarantees because, we really do have some set baselines that we're looking for creative talent. But, I'd encourage anybody who's interested to shoot over an email.
Popey, that's a very long-winded way to say, join us. One of us.
Gibby gobble, one of us.
Believe it or not, we're actually not that freaky, honestly. Because, if you open communication with us, we're actually pretty nice.
Except if you owe a certain blue ink a cheesecake.
Right. Now that, my friends, is a problem. Don't owe me
I'm not
cheesecake.
even allowed within 1,000 feet of her anymore. It was bad.
Tables will be flipped.
Oh, man. I don't think I'm supposed to be here in Texas anymore. Witness protection program.
Come to Ohio. It's cold.
It is very cold. But anyway, thank you for coming on, Blue Ink and Popey.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Even though our very sick dialogue has been completely muffled by Dayquil and Sudafed. Yes, Sudafed. But this program is brought to you by medicine because it is good.
Thank you, medicine.
Anyway, so thank you. Go check them out. Every bit of information will be posted right here on the screen. You can see it. Go, click, go.
Click the links. Clicky.
Read the book.
Buy my book.
Anyway, thank you for joining us, and have a happy rest of the new year, because dear God, it's going to be a long one. So many cons. So little time.
So much to do.
Right?
So much to do, so little time.
Screw loose. Get stitching. No sick days allowed.